Okay, everyone can hear me. Okay, good morning, everyone. As said, so I represent Stora Enso. And so first of all, thank you for the organizer for this opportunity to speak here, as well as Seeli, who's been our partner on developing these solutions. I will briefly cover a couple of topics here. So how intelligent packaging helps in two different areas where we focus is supply chain, as well as in consumer engagement. A couple of words about Stora Enso. So many of you, of course, may know 25,000 people and 9.8 billion in revenue. We are in transformation from a traditional paper and board producer to a kind of renewals material growth company. And of course, I represent a digitalization unit, so that is maybe one of the areas you may not have heard so much about. We are a part of the group IT organization, and our job is to work together with our business divisions, meaning these consumer boards, packaging solutions, biomaterials, and wood products, in addition to paper, to ensure that we are not left behind in utilizing this digitalization opportunity. Because, I mean, no single company can avoid that kind of, opportunity to take advantage of the new technologies and the business models it may create. Oh, where do I have this thing? All right. So, what makes a package intelligent? No one wants to be stupid, so package also want to be intelligent. In traditional way, you can call it smart, you can call it active, and there are a couple of aspects to that. So one is, of course, if you think about it, the construct. It can be very clever. It protects the products inside, as well as it can measure things, ensure that the quality stays good as the producer of the goods are intended, so extend the shelf life. So when you ship the products to the shelf, meaning, for example, food products, or food or pharmaceuticals, you definitely want to ensure that the quality is good when it's kind of at hands of the consumer. So that is one aspect to it. Okay, this is very clever. Also, the packages can tell if it's been opened. But if it's not connected to the internet, cloud, anywhere, it is clever, yes. Some consumers may realize that, okay, this is clever, but typically you only realize that when something goes wrong. Now, when we add a little piece of silicon chip, an antenna, to a package, it starts to communicate. So it starts to dialogue, be it the supply chain or be it with the consumer. Wow, that's a kind of a awakening moment for the package to start to have communication, be a vocational part of the whole supply chain. Before that, it's very kind of intelligent and maybe clever, but now it's part of the bigger ecosystem, and the value increases. So when we look at this simple graph of how the package life goes on, so the one thing is that the life cycle of package is quite short, isn't it? I mean, you just pack the stuff in and you ship it to the retail store, and then the consumer opens the package and throws the package away. So it needs to be really a kind of a renewable as well, recyclable. So we cannot add too much electronics in to a package. Also, it needs to fit the bill, because it's a very short time. We need to ensure that it's not too expensive to add this intelligence against or as opposing the value we receive from that. So what we have now done or are doing at the moment, we are working on two different domains. One is being the supply chain, and one is being a consumer engagement. And in supply chain point of view, we use and rely on technology, which is RFID. It's very well known. It's been around quite some time. And of course, when you are think about the volumes and the cost factors, you want to rely on existing and quite widely used technology. For those companies who are not been around RFID too intensively, may have not realized that it's growing. The investments in RFID technologies is growing roughly 20% compound annual growth rate. So the investments are growing. And many of you have noticed who have been in this, say, tech industry or retail last 20 years. It's been the promise for many, many years. And now it's happening all over. The other technology we use here, this is about as much as technology I will cover. So NFC, how the actual so near-field communications, you tap the pack and then the consumer will get some more information, for example, from the brand or instructions or so whatnot. But these are the kind of areas where we see a lot of value. And I've been discussing during this event that, okay, there is no too much highlight on the business value, so I can tell you that we are now working on the supply chain area, healthcare, medical companies, consumer durables, and those kind of things like power tools at home. And all of these companies are intensively studying and working on how to exploit this RFID technology in supply chain. And you don't have to take my word for it. So there is an interesting study. I will not go into details because you can, of course, read that as well. But for example, in retail, our Kurt Salmon RFID retail study was just released last year. Previous one was in 2014. And during that period of time, the amount of investment in this technology or these companies, among these companies, has raised, doubled from 34% to 73%, who are now working on this domain. And what are the key retail metrics or performance indicators for such a retail business? Well, this is a before and after RFID. So the before is, of course, in many of the cases, the barcode readers. The challenge with that is that you need to have the eyesight. When you read, you need to see, because it's a visual thing. RFID, it's radio, it's wireless. You just scan, and you can scan 600 reads per second. So you can imagine that when stuff goes through the supply chain, logistic chain, and it receives to the store, you just beep, 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 it's done. You go through the gate or you use the hand reader and so forth. So 93% of the retailers, they use inventory accuracy as one of the key parameter or performance indicator. Okay, when you sell physical goods, it's of course important to know whether do I have it or not, and where is it before I sell it. The improvements are quite significant, and also during this study it was said that loss of inaccuracy of own inventory is leading to 8.7% loss of sales. It's quite actually common sense as well. Customer satisfaction, as also Pia mentioned in the beginning, it's about everything going omni-channel. Buy online, pick up from store, ship from store. Those are the use cases. The omni-channel was the second highest use case to use the RFID technology, because it improves the accuracy, what you can sell, where your stuff is, what sells. You get all that information real time. So that is the key to be able to kind of be better in sales. And that leaves also time at the shops, the salespersons to serve the customers better and provide more information on for the consumers that where the goods are. It of course prevents out of stocks situations, which is quite bad. If that happens, shrinkage, profit margin will increase because you reduce cost, you are more efficient, as well as the markdown is lower. Okay, a couple of examples on this area. Not again going to the details, but just to prove the point that this is moving rapidly. So Inditex, everyone knows Stora, so I will not go into too much details. However, they produce 1 billion garments a year roughly. They tag them all. As you all know, that they have revolutionized the fashion retail in a way that they can produce from, say, 4 weeks from the catwalk to the streets. They know exactly what stuff sells and what not. And now, previously they used to have this barcode type of reading system. They were able to do at the stores, the inventory cycle was something like 6 months, because you need to read every single garment. Now they can just run through the gates, use the scanner, and read it from the distance. So the technology, this UHF technology, allows to read the tags from a few meters away. So that is a huge improvement. They can now reduce it to the 6 weeks. Also, this is, of course, the omnichannel. This is in all cases. Another one, Macy's. This is my last example of this world companies, but they also are planning to tag everything towards the end of this year. They were able to reduce the inventory in stores for 1 billion, because they can be more sure that what's in the store and what's not. So they can optimize the capital, or they optimize the investment, what they are kind of keeping there as a stock. For some areas, this was the called program, if I recall right, it was the pick to the last unit. Some of the retailers are basically keeping 15 to 20% of the stock as a last unit sold, because they want to avoid the situation that they don't have the good what they are selling. So it's quite high. It's really a significant. But that's about the retails. So all in all, what I'm saying here is that there are really clear benefits on the supply chain side when you know where the stuff is. And how we want to contribute to this equation is that we tag every single package to our customers, and we know how to do that. It's not so simple as you may think, because it's a radio, it has an antenna, and if it has fluids, if it has electromechanical electronics, metal, it always interferes. So it needs a little bit of a kind of a technical understanding to implement that, but we can do that. And the data of all of that data is transferred to a cloud and analyzed and provided to our customers to kind of further exploit in their own businesses. So we are more or less an enabler for our packaging customers to exploit this technology, to get clear business benefits. And you just read RFID Journal, for example, to learn more about it if you get interested. Okay, then about consumer engagement. This is one thing that brands are kind of, how would I say? The struggle, fight is fierce at stores, the attention of the consumers. Not all consumers go online and do the pre-studies online and they go to the shop and pick. There are also consumers who are at the store and think, oh, this is nice. Where can I find this salesperson who can tell me about this specific product? Especially electronics. When you get the random sales guy to you and say, that, okay, which one I should pick? Oh, well, okay, I have this one, so maybe this is good for you. No, it's not good. It's not good sales for the products, brand owners. You really need to know what you are selling and make sure that the consumer is happy. Especially in this case, when you are a sport enthusiast, you really want to kind of measure your kind of exercises, your progress, and so forth. So it is important for me when I'm doing mountain biking. I need to know that I have the right product. With this kind of adding intelligence to the shelves is 24/7 sales assistant to you. When you pull, this case is a kind of a. It was in Lahti World Championships and Go Expo, so I don't know if anyone you saw that. There are packages on the shelf. There's a small tag, and when you pull the product and start to look at it, the video or the information is displayed on the screen. Okay, that is not maybe technically so big thing, but still, it is easier to read. You can, rather than reading the small prints, you can easily see on the screen that what are the benefits, what kind of information the brand owner or the product manufacturer wants to convey to you. When you pick another one, it nicely lays out the comparison, so that it tells that what's the differences between these kind of two products. It has an interactive mode, function, whatever you want to call it. You can browse through, you can ask recommendation based on the algorithm built behind that, okay, which product I train maybe 5 times a week, a couple of hours at a time, so maybe I'm a little bit wannabe pro, so then it's maybe a different than one who wants to just kind of have this kind of activity bracelet or similar to do it, maybe have a walk every now and then. Okay, so what's the value for the brand? So at the behind, of course, there is a kind of connectivity, cloud. So there is a dashboard which is displaying the information about this interaction with the consumer, because every one of us has been cookied and followed when we are online. Now EU is making it a little bit more transparent. However, when you are in the store, in the physical world, there is no tracking really happening. But once you start to pick the products, so the actual brand owner starts to get a little bit information that, okay, which products are being picked up, or which products picked up first at the interaction. So this is the additional information from the physical world to this specific kind of a product. And there are more and more things you can add to it. It's not a technical problem. It's more about that, okay, what kind of information, what kind of things we want to collect. How do we want to convey our brand message to our consumers? And so some science behind it. So, so we also asked about the customers. Okay, how do you feel? These are quite new things, and it doesn't have to be magic. So good thing is that first reaction is quite positive. Actually, at least in Finland, and those who are in the sporting area, whether it was a brand or whether it was the shelf or all together, they felt that, okay, it's helping me. How useful? Yes, useful. And then, of course, there are areas where there are a lot of improvements. So these are the first generations, and I know that there are many companies now working on this domain. So they have a bigger screen. I want to compare more products. I would like to buy. This one did not have the buying option in, but they want to also buy. But also the comments were that they, of course, would like to continue the shopping, put it on the kind of a basket, and then maybe ship it to the home. I'm traveling. I see this at the airport, so I don't want to carry the stuff what I buy when I'm on the business meeting. So I just type in the address information and use maybe my mobile to pay and send it to home. Then when I get to home, I get my product. So I don't need to carry it around when I'm on a business trip. Yes, but I think that this was a kind of as a summary. So 2 areas: supply chain. So we tag every single package for our customers, and the interest is in both on this kind of B2B, and also the consumer engagement. There are more and more applications to it. So these kind of smart shelves, they are relying on exactly the same technology, and I mean everything is there. We are now running a second kind of generation activities, doing some service design, user experience analytics, and carry on with our customers to exploit these opportunities. So I think this was all from my side. I hope that you got some insight to it, and I'm again available after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Antti. I will ask you a quick question. You were talking about the delivering and things, and a colleague of mine just tweeted this morning, I think she was waiting for a package from Schenker or something, because she was tweeting that could it be possible to create an app that the supplier and the consumer could synchronize their schedules. You know, that they would go, hey, Anna is there, and I'm delivering the package right away.
Of course
Just,
there can.
Yeah.
I have to say that yes, of course it
Yes.
can. And it can even tell you that has it been opened. So maybe I did not put it through. So the package can tell that when you tap it, before you pay, take it, I say, hey, sorry, it's been opened. And I can tell you where. So this is an additional topic to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we will see Antti
I
at
think
the panel. Yes.